Hello and welcome to another Espresso with Aaron and Sarit. And today we're going to be talking about, oh my gosh, motivation, the golden ticket to all things. I want to do things. How come you opened that? I closed it.
Oh, I can close again.
You can see our fancy red lights behind us. Other way.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Doesn't she know? Okay. So anywho, today we're talking about motivation, how to have more motivation, what motivation is good for, the downfalls and hazards to look out for when it comes to motivation, and ultimately, how do we just get to our fat loss goals and look sexy naked
There you go.
and be healthy and all of that stuff too.
So for anybody who's live here with us, please go ahead and drop an M if, at any given point in time, and this is beyond, fat loss. You told yourself a story of, I ended up not doing this thing because I didn't feel like it or because I had no motivation that day.
I lost motivation.
So I want to share with you something about motivation is that your relationship to motivation will determine in the pursuit of anything in life that you're looking to accomplish, how far you'll be able to go. And the first thing that I want to share with you is that the best things in life take a long time.
That is not sexy.
It is not sexy.
That is hard to sell.
I'm here to sell you the truth.
Let me tell you something. You're going to go on this journey. It's going to be really shitty. People are going to throw rocks at you. You're going to have to try really hard. There's going to be a lot of sweat. You're going to get really tired. There's going to be a lot of days where you don't feel like it. You're going to get really frustrated because the progress is going to be really slow and it's going to take a long time. You're going to have to put a lot of effort in. Do you want to do it? Somehow we still say yes.
Mm-hmm.
But even though it is not cool to like the easy thing online and why we get these expectations in our like weight loss goals is because we see so many things that say you can lose an astronomical amount of weight in a very small amount of time without putting in any effort. And that's really sexy. That's really easy to get people to want to do whatever you have or buy whatever you have when you're like, oh, it's going to be easy. You don't have to put in any effort. It's going to happen really fast. You're going to look great. You're going to feel amazing. But, it's not the truth.
Mm-mm. So I want to share with you a couple of tips. When we first start, even if you know that, your workout is going to make you sweat, it's going to make you uncomfortable, depending on what workout it is or your current level of adaptability, you might even experience pain in the form of soreness, also called DOMS,
Delayed
onset muscle soreness.
The DOMS.
Why would people decide to still go for it on January 1st? By the way, it's April, and it's the start of a brand new quarter. So,
or like, regardless of when you're watching this, if you're live, you're here with us in April. If you're watching this though, like maybe a year later in November or whatever, all of this applies still.
Right. So why do people still choose to go through something uncomfortable in the first place? And there is a couple of reasons for that. Reason number one, it's because at the start of the year, because, from a physical standpoint and the calendar year, it's like, oh, calendar ended. It is time for a fresh start.
It's like starting a new book.
Right? It's like starting a new book. Did you guys know that actually 5% of people who start really finish them?
Where did you learn that?
I heard it somewhere. I don't remember where. But most readers and most books go like unread beyond like chapter 1 or chapter 2.
I mean, I believe it.
And I believe it too, because this is how people tend to play life. when the beginning is very evident, right?
It's very common.
The start of a book, right? When, like everything is still so fresh, and when you open it, you can feel oh yeah, I'm the first person to open it, and you can smell the paper. It's like exciting, right? And then maybe you get into a paragraph where you're like, oh yeah, this is kind of boring, or I'm not sure how this is related to me. Or maybe you were kind of tired when you read it at that moment. You started kind of snoozing a little bit. Then we start to create resistance.
Or you just put other things as a higher priority over reading in general.
Yeah.
I've been guilty of all of those things.
Yeah.
I have books that I still haven't finished.
Yeah.
Wasn't for me at that time anymore.
So, like when, from a physical standpoint, there is a start to something, it is a lot more motivating and inspiring for us to take on that journey. Okay. However, once we get to chapter 1, maybe we get to a chapter that we don't really like, or maybe we get to a chapter that we're like, oh yeah, I'm not sure how much I agree with it. Right. So, like resistance starts to get created. And this happens beyond just reading a book. This goes with regards to anything. That's why, like you go to a gym on January 2nd, you are lucky if you're, let's say, if you like to squat, you're lucky if you're even going to get a squat rack, unless you're the first person to get into the gym. However, if we're talking about, on the 4th Thursday of the year,
oh, now we're talking.
This is a completely different conversation. It's almost like,
crickets.
For anybody who's ever done like a 5K or a half marathon, like the start, the first kilometer is like packed with people. Because when there's just a high volume of people, you do not get to a point where you yet determine your pace. This is why the more experienced runners actually get a placing where they get to be in the front, because they know that the volume of people is going to actually create a drag on their pace. So, they are in the front so that from the get-go, they can lead themselves by their own pace, not by the swarms. Okay.
Put me in the back. I cannot say I understand what that is like.
And, like when the more time goes on with regards to any journey, because life is full of seasons, the more resistance is being created, because everything in life has ebbs and flows, right? After summer comes the fall, after fall comes the winter. But for some reason, when it comes to this journey, people think that this journey is all about a before and after. But I'm like, no, like currently you're running on a plateau. There's a hill coming. And after the hill, there is even like a steeper hill. And that's how the game of life works. Weight loss, fat loss is actually a chapter in how do you apply laws of nature in life with regards to your own physical habits. And I share this with you because the truth of the matter is that those who run their own race, those who are further in the game, those who have optimal body composition or whatever it may be, they know that it's a matter of being motivated, not feeling motivated. You do not need to feel motivated in order for you to do the damn thing. It's like a dancer does not need to say, oh, I need alcohol in order for me to bust a move. Meanwhile, let's say if you go to a, I don't know, like party or something on the weekend and you're not the type of person who is likely to dance, and somebody is like, let's say Aaron's like, hey, come dance with me. And you're like, oh yeah, I don't know. I need like a drink or two in me, right? You're not in a state of being of just like flowing with my body. right? So you feel like you need this thing. So, most people feel like they need this thing. They feel they need this feeling, the feeling of the buzz in order to dance, the feeling of the motivation in order to do a workout. When the truth of the matter is that motivation is a state of being. It is a state of being connected with where it is that you want to go, understanding that this is a process and that the longer it takes for you to act, just do it. When that thought comes into your head, hey, the alarm went off at 6 o'clock, time to wake up so you can get your workout in. It's not a matter of negotiation. It's about being connected to, okay, what is the importance of this thing? What is the consequence of me not doing it, regardless of how tired I feel or what's going on in my life? Just do it. 3, 2, 1. I'm not negotiating with myself, regardless of how painful or uncomfortable it feels in the moment, because I am a motivated person. A motivated person is a person who is obedient to the vision, regardless of how I feel in the morning, draggy, tired, low energy, whatever. You're more attached to your vision than you are to your current circumstance. And that's what being motivated is.
Yeah. I have several things to say. There's so many layers to motivation. And I don't think any of us will argue over the fact that we lose motivation. Like it is not infinite. Like it has a shelf life. It runs out of batteries. The battery starts fresh and full, maybe not even each day. Maybe it's completely unpredictable. It's like you imagine looking at your phone and being like, how much battery do I get today? And you don't even know. That's like how motivation is. It might be literally at 4% at the beginning of the day. And you're like, dang it. Well, I guess I'm not doing anything today. So it's clear motivation is completely unreliable when it comes to getting what we want in life, period. Right now, we're talking about weight loss results. Okay. So a couple of ways that I was just thinking about, actually, to go back to what you were saying, the reason why we're so motivated in the beginning of something or the newness of something is because we haven't got into our emotions yet. We haven't gotten emotional about it yet. So we're logical. We have logic and we have emotion. And I have no idea what the exact quote is or where it will be found or who said it, but it's something along the lines of, most mistakes being made when you make decisions out of your emotion.
Oh, I know. It was in this series that we were watching. 95% of mistakes that are being made because of a decision that was made off of an emotion.
There it is. So logic and emotion. Now, it's really good to understand that when you create a goal or when you set out to do something, you're logical about it. You're like, okay, I'm going to, go to the gym X number of days a week. I'm going to meal prep, and you start and you get ready. And then as soon as you get emotional about something, I'm tired, I'm frustrated, I'm feeling whatever other emotions would keep us from doing. Can you help me out, guys? What other emotions do you feel that prevent you from doing either eating a good meal or like just starving? I'm starved. I'm so starving. I'm hangry.
Yeah, from your process, just go ahead and drop it in the chat.
Yeah, and so I'll take a drink in a minute. I have a lot to say. So logic versus emotion, understanding that one of the ways that you can keep going on your journey is that when you do feel very emotional, recognize that you're feeling emotional, and also remember that most mistakes are made out of decisions that you made when you were emotional. And
so good.
And then
so good.
Another really great way to stay motivated is to remind yourself of what your goal is often. And when I say often, I mean daily, sometimes multiple times a day. Remind yourself of what your goal is. We were just having this conversation with our team this morning on our meeting where we were talking about sometimes people they lose sight of why they started. So when we feel ho-hum about our goals, or when we feel like we lose motivation, or, oh, I'm just not feeling it, or I'm not into it, or, something just feels off, get back to the vision that you had when you first started. So if you do that every single day and you write down just one goal you obsess over, where you're like, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to do this thing. And whenever you're feeling defeated, whenever you're feeling emotional, whenever you're feeling tired, whenever you're feeling like you don't want to do something that you need to do, or you want to make a justification to do something that's not going to help you make progress towards your goals, write it down again.
Okay,
write it down again.
I want to share something about emotions, and this is just from my own experience in life. Can I?
You have begun.
Okay. So the first thing I want to recommend to you, a book by Napoleon Hill, narrated by Sharon Lecter. It's called Outwitting the Devil.
Oh my God.
I believe, and this is from my own experience in life, I cannot speak for you, I can only speak for myself, is that when I am feeling emotional, I actually open doors for the devil to get inside. And this is why it's really easy to justify, oh my God, this is why this person is treating me this way. Or, we start justifying our failures, our lack of whatever. Like I saw one of you guys said, frustrated, right? Like how many times have you in the past self-sabotaged on your diet because you felt frustrated, right? So it's like, you're feeling some kind of way, and then the devil gets inside your head.
I just dropped the link for the book.
You get inside your head, and it's like, oh, because you tell yourself things like, maybe the doctor was right when he told me that I'm getting into menopause. Or maybe she was right when she told me that, like I've tried this thing for the 20th time, and like, why bother trying? Right? So then like we comfort ourselves with self-sabotage. And once you let the devil enter the room, it is a lot easier for the devil to stay. It is a game of momentum in the mind, in the spirit, in the body. And I share this with you because for me, both Aaron and I are human. However, I can only speak for myself. When I get emotional, my biggest intention in that moment is to get back to your state of being. And what do I need to do in order to raise it back up? I don't know if any of you guys feel that when you are in emotional, like your spirit is on drag. Everything is like, woe is me, about me. It's not about what do I do for others? How can I solve problems? And I'll tell you, we have a big mission. And when I get to that, I hate it. I don't like being within myself. I don't like being around myself. I take myself for a walk.
She needs a walk.
I'm like, okay, you need a mental reset right now, because you are not allowed to bring this energy into any conversation.
Yeah,
because it's literally, I don't know where I heard this, but it's like when your energy is compromised, or when you're being emotional and you're having a conversation with someone else, sometimes you don't even realize the words that come out of your mouth. Because a lot of what we say is on a subconscious level, right? So it could lead to the potentiality of me literally spitting on somebody's brain. I call it spitting on someone's brain. Like if somebody ever talked to you and like spat on your eyes or your face, you're like, like, let me wipe it off.
How dare you wipe my spittle away? When somebody
spits on my brain, I'm like, let me wipe this off real quick. However, it takes a little bit more effort, I believe, because wiping something off physically is like this, right? Like when we get into a certain state, it takes more effort, more awareness of myself and my own environment. And this is why for us, like our environment is so important, because raising your state in a compromised environment is just going to take a lot more effort. I'll tell you that. Do you feel that way too?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the greatest habits that you can make is being aware when you're being emotional and to be able to have control over what emotion you're going to choose next.
Yeah.
Because it is a choice. Unfortunately, we haven't practiced a lot. So we haven't, I feel like this would be so good to teach in school that like when, um, like emotional intelligence and like mastery of self,
Yes.
like how do I have control over my state? How do I recognize when I'm feeling an emotion that doesn't feel good to me? When do I allow myself to feel that emotion? Where is it appropriate for me to feel that emotion right there in that moment? How long do I stay there for realistically to allow myself to process through whatever I'm processing through, right? I believe all emotions are supposed to be there for a reason. So if I'm feeling grief, if I'm feeling sadness, if I'm feeling anger, frustration, they all exist for a reason and they're not bad. Emotions are not bad. What we do with our emotions can be bad. So I think that making the habit of understanding when you're feeling what you're feeling, why you're feeling it, how long to stay there for, that's appropriate, and then to say, what do I get to choose next?
Yeah.
To get myself to a place where I can continue moving forward. Okay, so that was a wicked tangent on emotions, but I love all of these emotions. I want to read some of them real quick. Sad, overwhelmed, frustrated, stress, anxiety, burnout, frustrated, stress, sadness, irritation, tired, lethargic, hopeless, headache, overwhelm, lots of frustration, lots of stress. And so in those moments, we get to choose, why am I feeling this? What benefit does it have for me? Sometimes it does. Sometimes grieving is beneficial.
Yeah.
Sometimes, being like punching a pillow is beneficial. Get it out, right? Hold on. We've only gotten to 2 of my like 5 things here.
I know. I have 3.
Okay. Okay, so these 2 go hand in hand. One way to get yourself, when you're not motivated, to take action is for one to realize that it's not a matter of being motivated to act, but you can act your way into being motivated.
Yes.
So you can take action with the principle, can I just? Can I just, whatever the next thing is, right? So if I am, let's just use going to the gym as a great example, because oftentimes, that's the thing we skip, right? Can I just put my shoes on my feet? That's all I'm doing. And you literally come from the mind frame of like a win for me right now is just putting my shoes on my feet. I'm not getting to the gym. I'm not getting to the gym. I'm not going to go around the trim. I'm not thinking about any of these things yet. I'm like, I can put my shoes on. I can put my shoes on. Okay, cool. Let me just put my shoes on. Can I just find my car keys? Can I just get a water? Can I just, and it's like one step at a time, you get there. And sometimes I tell myself I'm going to go at like 70% today because I'm feeling really tired, but it's the habit of getting to the gym, doing the workout, going through the process that keeps me going, making that habit unbreakable. So when I'm there though, and when I start, I don't know how to not go all in. I don't know. I've made such a habit of when I get started, I'm like, all right, cool. And I don't know if it's just me or if it's like physiological and psychological where you're like, well, I'm already here. Might as well bust ass. Bow, poo, 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 poo. And you like do way more than you expected you would. And if you don't, that's okay too.
Yeah.
If you don't, that's okay too, because the intention was not in your mind to, oh, I'm going to act my way into being motivated. It was literally just, I'm just going to do the next thing. I'm just going to do this. And you work your way there. And even if all you put in is 50%, 60% effort, and that was the intention and you did it, great. But oftentimes you find that when you get started, you push harder than you thought you wanted to. Okay, my last one. You were talking about the alarm clock. When the alarm clock goes off and you hear it, immediately, like, don't negotiate with yourself. Hold on, you get a second. I let you talk for a really long time. Did you notice? Did you notice I took notes? Did you see that? Did you see them right here? Did you see the notes I took? And I shut up. Okay, and this is my last one. So this is amazing. This is real life. The law of diminishing intent. The longer you, okay, this has happened to me too. Alarm clock goes off. You're like, just like 60 seconds, just give me 60 seconds. But in those 60 seconds, the likelihood that you're actually going to get your ass out of bed, like right then and there, starts to go away. The law of diminishing intent, right? Like the longer you wait to do something, the less likely you are to do it. Even though you know you need to do it. This has happened a lot with like our different programs or something like, oh, I'm going to wait until da-da-da. And then it's like, you just don't. Or, you know, when you're going to pay one of your bills or do your chore, put the dishes away, I'll do it after. And then they start to pile up. Diminishing intent. Like you intend on doing it, but it starts to fade away. And then I want to tell them about something cool.
Can I tell them about this morning first?
Yeah.
You guys,
hey, hold on. Can you tell them about this morning?
So everything that you talked about was like literally me this morning. Oh. So what was the first thing that I told you when I came out here this morning?
You said you inspired me to increase my standards.
Yes. So we get up at 4 a.m. every single morning. You may or may not know this. Currently, my mom is in town.
Every Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
I cannot claim Saturday and Sunday.
And my dad's getting here tonight, and then on Wednesday, Aaron's parents are coming here because it's Passover and the parents get to meet each other, and it's great.
It's going to be a zoo.
Anyways, so, you know, because we have people here, yesterday, Aaron was saying, I think to give myself extra time to make sure that I can get everything, you know, done and still be on track. However, also make sure that I'm being intentional with family. I'm going to get up earlier every single day this week. And I was like, huh.
Pray for me.
Okay. I'm like, that's interesting. I'm like, maybe I should do that too. And this morning, you got up at 3 a.m. without the Lady A alarm. But I could hear her, I think because like mentally I was preparing. And I was like, gosh, she woke up early and the alarm did not go off yet. I need to get up too. But I'm like, what time is it? So I looked at the clock and it was like 20 something.
3:20 something.
It was like 20 something. And I think I could also hear you outside from the plunge.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, gosh, okay, like you're already kind of awake. Like, what's the point of laying in bed for 45 minutes? But you know when your time is limited and you're like, it is not yet my time.
Negotiation.
Whoa, okay, talk about negotiation. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to lead with progress, not perfection. I'm going to set a reminder for 15 minutes so I still get to wake up 20 minutes earlier than I had intended to. Winning. 1 minute later, Callie notices you got out of bed. Callie's so attached to Aaron. So, you know, like she has this thing where she like stands like at the edge of the bed and she starts like, meh.
Right on the corner.
Like
she just sits there.
She starts like crying and I'm like, God, what are you trying to tell me? So
get up.
I take her out, right? That's when I came out here. And then I'm like, it's literally just past like 3:20 something. And then I look at the bed and I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it.
Sergeant was still in there too.
Don't you dare do it. Boogie's
there. All warm and cozy underneath.
And so it was the fight of the logic and the emotion because I was like, I could totally get more sleep. It's freaking early. But then logically, I'm like, dude, there's no way you're going to fall asleep in 20 minutes. And even if you will, as soon as you're going to wake up, as soon as you're going to fall asleep, the alarm's going to go off. And have you ever fallen asleep after you woke up? It's almost like you feel even more tired.
And then the alarm goes off and then you're more mad because you're like,
Yeah. So then I'm like, well, what's the point? And I'm like, I already feel behind because I like to feel like I'm first. And I already know that Aaron's first. And I'm like, okay, get ahead. But I'm like, oh, I don't want to. Like, I just looked at the bed. It was calling my name so hard, you guys. So we have this sledge. And I'm like, I'm just going to surrender here and pet Boogie. But you're not getting in bed. So I had my knees on the ledge and I was petting Boogie. And we had a moment and I was literally coaching myself through it. I'm like,
this is real life.
I'm like, okay, just use this time to connect with Boogie. However, it really doesn't make any sense for you to get in bed. So like toughen it up.
Giddy up.
And just get to it. And I was like, all right, fine. And then I got up.
And then you listen to TD Jakes on 100% full blast. And I'm like,
yes.
So much for my quiet time.
So then the first thing that I was like I had 40 extra minutes this morning. For anybody who cherishes their morning time, it's like, oh my gosh, yes. So it was really good. And the first thing that I told Aaron is thank you for raising my standards. I share this with you because it's important to know that, again, like it is not about feeling motivated. It is about being motivated. And even somebody when they're further along in the road, it's not like you don't ever experience struggles or hardships. I'm like, dude, if there was a camera person behind me recording what those 5 minutes would have looked like, you would have laughed because I looked at the bed, I negotiated with myself, I talked myself into getting close, but not too close. And I gave myself a rule and it's like, okay, like just take it one step at a time through the resistance and eventually like just the force of withstanding is going to help you to stand up. And that can be in relation to your workouts. That can be in relation to you getting up. That could be in relation to you doing anything that you don't want to do. So the second thing that I want to share with you, and then you take it, is that, when you're being motivated, you understand that this is a game of discipline. Again, it's not a matter of how am I feeling right now. For me this morning, it was being disciplined with getting up early and being ahead of the game, because there's something that happens mentally when you know that you're starting your day before the world. You feel ahead. It's like for me eating clean. Do I think that a piece of chocolate is going to make me gain weight? No, but it is about the confidence of when I eat a certain way, I feel a certain way. It's not because one thing is going to throw it off. And the same thing goes with, like waking up early. And this is why, like, even on Saturdays, I wake up before 5 a.m. Because for me, it's like, okay, if I know that my mentor is getting up at this time, I get to wake up before my mentor, which means that I'm making moves towards getting ahead in life, right? And it all comes back to your vision. And a lot of times when we feel emotional, or when our emotion actually drives us into positive action, it's because we are experiencing a lot of pain. For example, if you go to a doctor and your doctor tells you, sir or ma'am, you've got 2 months to live if you don't lose weight. Now the emotions are so high that your vision is so close to you right here that you're like, dude, I just want to live, right? But, a lot of times because we're not taught to instill these habits at a younger age, we don't even think about, what do I want? What am I going after? Until we literally are in a fight uphill just to get by. Most people actually start to take their life and habits seriously when they're in a fight uphill to literally just stand still. It doesn't have to be this way. Mm-hmm. What if you were to approach that life when things are still relatively decent in order for you to get ahead? Now, I'm not saying that regardless of whether, you are running uphill just to get by versus running uphill to get ahead, for neither person, it's easy. but it's a different state of mind that you're carrying into it. There's a different state of mind of I'm doing this to get ahead versus I'm doing this to get by. And I also believe that because a lot of times people get confronted with that only when there's pain, they kind of lose sight of how to recreate it when they're no longer in pain. This is why for a lot of people, if you started your journey, let's say, having been morbidly obese or extremely overweight, though, you could do more, you could feel really happy with, taking half your dosage with medications. And I'm not telling you that either is right or wrong. There's no such thing as right or wrong. It's about you being intentional with where it is that you want to go. Right. But, for most people, because they only experience it at a point where there's so much pain, when they're out of pain, they stop playing the game. So, and this is why, for example, if you look at athletes or things like that, there are different layers to, whatever it is that you're pursuing. So Napoleon Hill calls success the pursuit of achievement, as long as you're not hindering anybody in the process. So it looks different for everybody. So let's take an athlete, for example. There's a different layer of success for somebody who is there to win a Super Bowl championship 5 times versus 1 time. There's a
or versus just to make a paycheck.
Right. There's a different mental stamina because you've already reached the top. In order for you to want to do it again, there is a different internal motive. And I find that to be super fascinating.
Yeah. And the reason why there are few people that have that degree of, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, whatever, is because it's very easy for us just as a human being in our nature to rest on our laurels. I did it. That's good enough. I already won once, so I'm good. And it's not to say that any version is right or wrong. It's just, what do you want out of your life? How clear is your vision for yourself and how you want to live, what you want to accomplish, what kind of life you want to create for yourself if you have the freedom to do what you want to do. And so I think that I feel an underlying value in this video is the fact that you are getting a lot of story about how we also have a difficult time with these things. And what do we do to help ourselves? I'll tell you, there's probably at least 2 days out of every week I don't want to work out. On days that I plan to work out, there's at least 2 days where I do not feel like it. I don't feel like I have the energy. I'm tired, or I feel like I have work to do or other things. I'd rather do something else. And so this is the process that we go through. I think that it would be amazing, going back to the concept of talking to yourself, coaching yourself through it. If I had a narrator for the thoughts and self-mentorship I give myself, or coaching, when I am making my way through some of these scenarios where I'm talking myself through it, just as if we would do to you or we do to our clients, is okay, let's get back to logic right now.
Mm-hmm.
You can feel your emotion. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But let's get back to logic so we can make a sound decision.
Yeah.
And also just the understanding that not every decision is going to be a great decision.
Yeah.
That's what makes us human.
And yeah, and I want to talk about that too, because it's important that as you go through the process, you have grace with yourself, because there's a lot of the learning. There is learning the principles, there is learning about yourself, and there's learning about what it takes at different phases in the journey. And, sometimes we have a tendency, again, I can only speak for myself, that, it's like, oh, I should have gotten this by now, or I should have been so and so by now. Well, like, are you in a season of learning, or are you in a season of cultivating? And the season of learning is going to look different for everybody, because if a person comes to us who is already highly self-aware, who has cultivated good habits, they're probably going to get to a point where they're going to be in a season of bearing their fruit sooner rather than later, versus it's life. Like, if you know nothing about who you are, and the thought of it, just like overwhelms you, and you are not even aware with regards to what habits you need to, improve, what habits you should limit, eliminate, that sort of thing, the journey is going to take a bit longer. But if I can share with you any words of wisdom, is, rather than looking at the, like, rear view mirror of, oh, let me see where this person is at, just check in with yourself and make sure that your hands are on the wheel. Because what matters is where you're going. If you check off with, oh, where is this person? Okay, you just lost focus from the thing that you needed to do. And, we only have so much energy and so much time on a day-to-day basis. And the more energy and focus we, put towards things that are not actually getting us ahead, the more we're actually taking ourselves back. So I share this with you so that you understand that, like, having grace is important, and also knowing which season in my journey am I at. And by the way, I would love to know from you guys in the chat, like, which season would you say that you're at? Are you in a season of learning, or are you in a season of cultivating? Maybe it's both.
What do you mean cultivating?
Like I've learned the foundations, and right now it's just execution.
So
there's
like
always
action?
there's always learning involved. There's some, like, please remember that. But are you more at a point of, I'm just taking it all in and learning from where I'm at, or I'm just in execution mode and let me just, kind of like prove to myself every single day through action that this is where I'm at?
I feel like there's learning, taking it all in, where you don't have an expectation because you know that you're learning. And then there's like the action or execution, whatever, where it's more focus. And then there is usually an expectation. We've gotten completely off the topic of motivation at this point, which if you watch regularly, you should be used to it by now. But I want to share a story, because who's competitive here? Like, who is competitive? Like, you have a little
drop a C if you're competitive.
And yesterday,
oh yeah,
I made a post about it. Sri has been teaching me how to play tennis, and I think we've done it like 3 or 4 weeks. How many weeks have we done it?
I think this is the 4th week. No,
this was the 4th week or 3rd week?
This was the 3rd week.
Okay, so this was the 3rd week. So on Sundays, there's a tennis court by our house. So we just go over there. And I'm so competitive. I see you guys. Tam, Anna, Mandy, Mary, Amanda, Ashley, Michelle. There's a lot of A's in the house. Dang, JB, Karen. Okay, so I'm very competitive, and I also am very athletic. So I usually pick up on sports relatively quick. And
yes, she does.
And so I get competitive with myself to the point where I would get like angry if I'm not doing as good as I think I should be. And again, this goes back to, you were talking about this morning, TD Jakes was talking about it, how our expectations control disappointment. So your level of expectation will control the level of disappointment you have. And so yesterday,
so
what did
good.
I tell you yesterday? What was my commitment that I had made to myself? And I'll tell you, this is based on me making the habit of checking in with myself mentally and being able to control the state, choosing my state of being happy, excited, enthusiastic, sad, focused, like choosing the state that I'm in. So what was my commitment that I made to myself yesterday?
I don't remember. But I remember that we changed the strategy.
Well, my commitment was no, before we changed the strategy though, because my natural competitive tendency was to be frustrated. Why? Because Sarit was kicking my ass.
Well, we got to a point where I wanted to give her an extra challenge.
And I wasn't handling it very well.
Yeah. And, you know, like it opened up a lot of room. Well, it showcased the adversities that she needed to overcome and where she was at. So
like, where is my room to grow? Like, where am I at? Okay. So anywho, I said, I'm making a commitment to, gosh, I don't even remember exactly what I said, but it was basically like, I'm going to have a great attitude knowing that I'm new in this and I'm learning. Oh, my commitment was to have grace with myself. That's what it was. I said, I'm committing, and I had to say it out loud to her because I talked myself through it. I wanted to be mad. I wanted to be frustrated. I want to be upset. So when you're going through this journey and you think you should have lost 5 pounds or 10 pounds or however much, and you haven't, but you know you're taking good, positive, helpful actions toward your goals, remember those things. I remember I put myself on the court. I'm here learning. I'm here putting in my best effort. I am being consistent with my effort. So I can have grace on myself because I know that I'm doing my best effort and being consistent in that. I can have grace when I don't meet a certain mark. Make sense? So whatever game you got to play with yourself, I told myself every point, it's the first point. Because you feel really good in the beginning. You're like, okay, cool. Whatever it is, right? Monday. Every day's day one is the same concept. Every day's day one. Why? Because on day one, you feel super motivated and excited and it's new and we're going. Every day's day one. So that's why, and also just getting warmed up, like these bracelets that we have, they're reminders to literally to myself that every moment is a new moment and a new opportunity to reset yourself. So if you're feeling a way that you don't like, you have an opportunity to reset yourself. But this happened and that happened and that happened. Yep. And they will always have happened because you can't change what has already been. But you can change how you are now. So in wrapping it back around to motivation, every day is day one. Every moment is a new moment. So regardless of what happened earlier in your day or how tired you feel, it's the beginning of the day.
Or maybe if you know, fell off on the weekend.
Let's say Friday. That doesn't mean you just F it up all weekend and start again on Monday.
Right.
Because every day is a new day. Every moment's a new moment.
And for every action, there's a reaction. And for everything that we do, there is a consequence. So you might as well use this moment as an opportunity to get ahead, stand still, rather than go back. Every day, our best looks different. And, you know, because when we start this journey, we start when we tell ourselves we are ready, when we are motivated, when everything feels right.
When the stars and our chakras are aligned.
We think that that is how the journey goes. No. Wish I could tell you that. It is messy. It is
imperfect.
It is imperfect. It is filled with frustrations, but you know, it is about.
But it's worth it.
It is worth it. It's all about how do you persevere through all of that. And it is about having a greater understanding of you and of life in itself. It's like going through school. If you went through school, I'm pretty sure that there was at least one class that you didn't like as much as you liked another class. Does that mean that you could graduate without it? Nope. Still get to do it, right? So like, no matter how you feel about it, like, what are you chasing? And why is that important to you?
Chastity, I saw your question. And I did this last week at sometime, and it was really cool. And I really enjoyed talking to a few people. But Chastity asked about what programs we offer, and that there's several. It's just really a matter of where is any person at in their journey. What are their goals? What are the things they're good at, or the things they're struggling with? How long have they been on this journey? So all of those things we take into consideration. Last week, I opened up some hours in my calendar, and I just actually chatted with people. Now, if you are genuinely interested in doing one of our programs and you're like, I just don't know where to start, I'm absolutely happy to jump on the phone with you. You can shoot me an email to Erin@erinandsarit.com. And the only thing that I want to sell you is whatever makes you feel the most confident about moving forward and making progress towards your goals. Whether that's something we offer or not is irrelevant to me. It's just a matter of you're here because you see something that can help you. Great. I want to help you. And I'll point you in the right direction either way. So I'll put my email in the comments or in the chat so that you can shoot me an email, and we'll just talk about, what do you want? What do you want? Where do you want to go? What has been your experience so far? What's worked for you? What's not worked for you? And what's the best direction to go from there? You can also put help in the comments if that's you, and we'll see if I can reach out to you as well.
Put my email down too if you need support with that. Yeah, we're here to help you guys.
I'll forward you to Sarit if I get too many.
Okay. We're here to help you. We're here to empower you. We're here to educate you. The quality of our life is based on the quality of our decisions. And every single day we make over 70,000 decisions. More than 90% of them happen on a subconscious level. So, like, wherever you're at, just remember that this is a process, because it takes a lot of reorganization of your external surroundings and your internal surroundings. It's like, I don't know what that game is. I think it's called Taxi, where it's like you move the cars to make sure that like the runway is clear and the car can just go through. And that's how you move to the next level. And this is how it really is. It's about, going through the process to identify points of resistance, what's beneath every point of resistance, the habit that we need to create in order to overcome that point of resistance, testing it out, rinsing, repeating, and then moving to something else. And this is why it's something that never ends. It's something that we continuously strive towards. However, how we approach it really, really matters. Because if you think that there is that end game, or that, it ends once you reach a certain, number on the scale or whatever, then your expectation of what the game is like is completely wrong. So.
Yeah, I appreciate you all being here and taking any of the coaching that you do that works for your life, the way that it works for your life. I want to share in our morning meetings, we always share a win. And I just, for motivation and for inspiration for you, I want to share just not every detail of this, but the win that was shared on our morning meeting today was from somebody in our Inner Circle program. And she had lost a certain amount of weight that she has not been perfect by any stretch of imagination in her execution of things. But she has been, working on just being better, the way that we talk about, like, just if I can get incrementally better, maybe not even every day, but maybe each week or month, and I'm getting better. You go a certain period of time. I think she said, like, I cried happy tears because sometimes we get so defeated and so hopeless. The more things we try, the more time that we go trying to lose weight, the more times we fail, we start to believe that we are the problem. And usually the strategy and the structure
and the support
is the problem. And so I really believe that anything is possible. And if you really want to lose weight, you really want to get to your goals, there is a way to do it. You need the right strategy, you need the right support, and the right attitude. You know, you don't have to have 100% belief in yourself, as long as you have somebody who undeniably believes in you, so that you can believe in yourself. And that's what we're here for. So anything else?
Good shit.
All right. Thank you, guys. If you like this, if somebody will benefit from this, if somebody in your life will benefit from this, or you thought of anybody in the meantime, while you were watching, just hit the share button, send it to them. If you're not already subscribed thanks to all of our subscribers. Whoop, whoop. I want to see who's subscribed. I know like at least half of you are. Put it in the chat, in the comments.
If you're subscribed, drop an S in the chat.
And if you want to get more of these, then subscribe. And if you want to get notifications for when we are going live and doing things like this, then hit the little bell, hit the little notification bell, and you'll get notified when we go live or when we have put up a new video. So pleasure to be part of your journey and a part of your Monday. Go and be great, and we will do the same.
Bye, guys.
Oh, there we go.